time to join us.
Where's the fucking sign that says
Confidence. There's no doubt F-18s and F-16s. So I'm sure you can imagine the kind of stuff that I did. And now what I've done is transform myself from being a master of destruction in that job to being the master of happiness and harmony. So it's my great pleasure to work with you. So just like you've broadened your career by getting into the restaurant business and now into the political arena, I'm doing the same thing, having created happiness lasting within me and now within my family, and now working on clients and within the city. So it'll be my great pleasure to help anybody else who wants to be helped. I don't see you guys anymore, Robert. Do you still see and hear me? Hello, hello. Okay. Okay, you hear me, but you don't see me. There you are.
So what I had mentioned to Jim is that what is already going on in Ottawa, that movement already has started. It's being implemented. And I mean, there's other cities in the other parts of the world, but you're in that city right now. You've already got the program running. It's up and it's being worked on. There's
we're on implementation right now.
Implementation. So if you could go through and kind of give them the overview of what it looks like for that city, would be a great pleasure.
Yeah, sure. So like I said, we're just getting into implementation here, Mayor. So we don't have the full administration in place yet. But what I'm seeing is we're appointing a chief happiness officer. That's me. And then we have a small staff. And this small staff includes the functions of marketing and promotion, research and reporting. We have a financial person.
Back up and give the overview picture, and then we'll go into the details. Would that be a little better?
Yeah, okay.
Let's just
give them. Okay, so on the overview, what we want to do is to help the city. And we want to help the city in 3 ways. We want to help people improve their health and wellness. And we want to help people in their social collaboration. And we want to help businesses be successful, profitable, and growing. And all of these things we do by giving them the foundation of happiness. Now, most people don't even understand what happiness is. And so that's our first job, is to teach them what happiness really is. And then the second job is to help them align themselves with that new understanding. So this is the work that we're doing. To us, happiness is about harmony, but you want to have harmony with 3 things. So imagine that you're truly loving who you are, despite any perceived flaws, so that you are just happy with who you are, then thankful and grateful for everybody and everything around you, and then doing what's most meaningful to you. That's what we call happiness. And I've done that. Hello, my good friend Paz. Good to see you here.
He's in New York.
We are talking about the Happy City Initiative.
New York as well.
Yes, sir.
So then we start working with people and organizations in order to align them with that. So one of the key things that they need to know is what is their purpose, whether they are a business or whether they are a not-for-profit or a charitable organization or just an individual. So we have ways of helping them to find that, and then to start to work to understand things like, first of all, no 2 people can ever be the same. So to be criticizing somebody for being different than we are is counterproductive. And when we work together, we multiply our brain power. So we get more creative, we get more intuitive, we get more efficient and effective. So when we do that, we start everybody getting more and more creative and productive, and it helps the whole city to start to clean up messes, to be more of a developmental place and a more innovative place and a more collaborative place. And these are the really big pushes that we want people to do.
So, Stephen, Jim, would now I think now it could segue into understanding how it could be developed or implemented in the town.
Yeah. So how we go about that. So the first part is an education part. Is really about understanding what the value of true happiness is, the difference between real happiness, pleasure, and comfort, the difference between real happiness and how it can affect your health. So getting things like that going. And then doing consulting in different organizations. And once a year, we expect to have a week of happiness celebration where everybody just gets out, has a good time, eats some good food that's healthy, has a great music time, connects with nature, and has a lot of fun together. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Then monthly, we support a thematic calendar so that each month there's a new theme. And what that theme does is give people something to do, to give the media something new to talk about, and to allow people to focus on that one aspect of happiness so that they can work on that through the month. And then as they do that, it'll generate stories and they'll find themselves being happier and more productive. And that'll pass that on from person to person as they discover for themselves how much more fun it is to be working together.
So we've been talking about difference between a social city and a city that has cars, basically, that's more unsocial. And I would say Bad X is more in that category than than a place that has a meeting place where people get off subways. And just a different. Yeah,
no, that's totally the truth, because when we're unhappy, our tendency is to separate and isolate. And when we're happy, our tendency is to come together and work together and cooperate. So most of our cities in North America have been built around the idea of making it more car friendly. And when we have done that, what we are doing is separating people. And separating people is leading them to the less productive and less healthy life. When we take small steps to create spaces and events where people do come together, then we start to reverse that trend. And what that does is bring people into ways that they can really get together, have fun together, create together, produce together, and really, be better people. So there are some small measures that we can do to do that, like just creating events in parks, or creating new parks, or creating new pedestrian areas. And then there are some larger things that need to be done, like upgrading public transit infrastructure, creating new buildings with more people space in it, common space, and things like that. So there are some short-term projects that we can do to help change the infrastructure and the environment of the city. And then there are some longer term planning things that you want to do to evolve the city over time as major projects.
Pass. Pass.
I get it. Can you see me?
Pass Simpson, I want you to meet Jim Hicks. And Pass Simpson resides in New York right now. He's got one of the best-selling books, authors of 365, which is working with an affirmation that every day you get. That's labeled in your book. So describe a little bit about what you do, Pass.
I am a happiness engineer. I basically help people get out of their own way. A lot of times, most people have no idea what happiness is because they're so trapped into the traditions and the memes that go on in their lives. So I actually help people dissect what is holding them back from finding their inner joy. And then we smile big. You know, we help people find their own dreams and understand what success feels like to them. Because not everybody is motivated by money. Not everybody wants the big house, but you have to know what your desire is so that you can actually accomplish it. We all have a dream that we have to accomplish. We're all here for a reason. And if we don't go for it, it's never done. So I help people find that, magic key for the most part.
Okay. Well, thank you, Pass. And Stephen, so part of Jim, would you be interested a little bit more about what we could be implementing, how it would work?
It's possible.
So tell me a little bit about what it would take to go for what the idea of the structure would be.
Okay, so in every place, the structures are different, the supporting mechanisms are different, and the problems are different. So we would adapt and design the structure around each individual city or town that we go to. But what we're seeing here is having a chief happiness officer whose job really is to ensure and to promote the idea of happiness, working all the way from the city council, all the way around different organizations that are interested in working this way. And so anybody who really wants to understand this and who really wants to get the high productivity gains that they can from it, we are happy to help. So the Chief Happiness Officer is out doing the work of talking to different organizations, explaining the benefits, and generating interest and making the liaison in all of that. While the team back in the office is doing things like tracking the many projects that are on, keeping what we call an idea bank. Because you will know from your own experience that lots of people have lots of good ideas that either don't get to where they can be implemented or they get there too late to be implemented after all of the work has been started already and the course has been set in another direction. So what we do is we track and catalog people's ideas for different things. We categorize them and we watch what's going on around us. And when a certain project comes up, then we dig up all of the ideas that related to that and we feed them into the process. So in this way, the best ideas come forward and people feel really rewarded because their input has been implemented and realized. And so they get more engaged in the city, and other people do as well, thinking that their things might be the same way. So we have this office that looks after these projects, including the idea bank management. Then we have one person who looks after office administration, including finances and things like that. And that's really about as big an office as you need. It's only about 3 or 4 people for most size cities. And then you can just be the facilitators for the work that is going on around the city with volunteers and through organizations. Does that make sense, or do you have any questions about that?
No, putting the staff together like that is, I only have 5 people in the whole city hall.
So you that's funny. So in your case, then you would probably be double and triple hatting people because the jobs would be smaller in your size town. So you might do it with 1 person or 2 people. And this would be, like I said, every place is different. So when we went there for the first time, in order to just talk and get a feel for the area, what the issues are, what the resources are, what the structures are, and who is available to support, what the interest levels are. Then we would work through all of this stuff and make sure that we don't have one cookie cutter that we think fits for everybody. We have a framework we know works, and then we want to adapt it so it works for each individual place.
Well, we got an unusual town, I tell you. First off, we start off with a name, and not too many people. There's not another one in the world.
Yeah, I believe that. And when I first heard it, I went, what?
And we're coming in here with happiness.
Yeah. So maybe, can you tell us, where does the name come from?
Now, the legends say that the Indians broke an axe years back at a turning point where it goes north here. This community here is in the thumb of Michigan. You know anything about Michigan? We're in the thumb.
Okay.
We're 18 miles everywhere from water.
I guess I'll sue the
East,
Oh, wow.
north.
Okay.
So it's a point. It's where you turn to go nowhere. We don't have freeways. We don't have all that kind of stuff because there's nowhere to go to.
So what is the major business or output or industry or whatever in the town?
Cody's got one of the biggest businesses here in town. He's a man-and-a-half project business.
Factories.
Couple little factories.
Manufacturing.
If you know anything about unemployment or anything, we need about 200 people up here in the city of Bad Axe work. We can't seem to find anybody up here. This county is about 4% welfare.
Wow.
Everybody on welfare wants to stay there, and they can't pass a drug test or anything to get a job.
Yes. So that's a real problem for you guys.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so this is a challenge, and I won't promise that we can sort all of that out, but one of the things that happiness does for you is to let you let go of your physical addictions.
My physical addiction?
Yeah. No, not yours, anybody. Well, yours too, but everybody's. So if we can get a message into those people, and that will take a while, and that will take some tricky work. There's no doubt about it. But I would think that over time we could make some difference in that.
Yeah, there's a lot of work here. I guarantee you. There's a lot of happy people because they're on drugs up here.
Yeah. I don't think that's real happiness. I call those the numbing agents. And what they're working to do is to dampen their bad feelings about themselves.
Well, up in this area here, we got third and fourth generation that's been on welfare.
Yep.
And they've been taught very well.
Yeah, exactly. Things get passed on that way.
It's a huge community up here. I mean, we got about 3,200 people in the whole county.
Wow.
32,000.
That is big.
That's
a big section of your population.
The county's 32,000, yeah. And there's only like about 4,000 people in the city.
Here, about 335.
About 3,500 in the city of Bad Axe.
Oh, wow.
It is a city. It is a city.
It is a city. Oh, okay.
It is a city. It's incorporated, but it is, okay. Yeah. So, but the county's got roughly 32,000, and yes, what it's depressed. There's a lot of heroin being made up here. I would say it's heroin, meth labs and stuff like that. The
same thing you got over there. Everybody's got it.
See, what cities like that?
Yeah.
Growing up in New York City and growing up in a drug infested neighborhood, you start to understand, what John Assaraf says. We do not see with our eyes, we see with our brains. And your brain would only see what it's trained to see. So it's, in bringing new initiatives to those cities, it's also about providing new training for what they're seeing, what they can get into, knowing that there are people who are just like them that made it. Like, I made it. I was just like them. My trials and my tribulations, have been enormous, but they've all been the test of my testimony.
You got to remember, though, past most of the people up here are not. Most of them are white, not black.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm not going to be their best messenger. Yeah. But
so how would you work?
It's going to have to be someone who looks like them, someone who feels like them, maybe even someone like a Terry Levine, who's a entrepreneur, who's come back from amazing atrocities to keep fighting and being an entrepreneur that teaches happiness herself. Her program is Work Yourself Happy. So there are tons of people.
Or is it just showing up differently, sort of leading the way out of the circumstances without going and hitting them over the head because there's somebody's bad for doing it? How do you?
No one's bad or good. It's just choices that we make. So it's about, for me, I always think it's always about opportunity. What happens and what, changes in our life are the opportunities that we are able to see.
Right.
Because the opportunities are always there, but we don't see them. When I was in college, I didn't see all the opportunities I had, and I still decided to become a drug dealer, because my brain was trained a certain way from my neighborhood. It wasn't until I took the time to get to know myself, to teach myself, and to train myself to be better that I could also see better. So it is about the opportunities, showing them people who look like them doing what they did and come back and can be so much greater. It has to be, nobody wants to hear it from anything that doesn't reflect for them, which is why we're starting a young entrepreneur movement myself. So these young people get to hear it from other young people. See, we don't add race in it until we get older. Little kids don't really get caught up in that too much.
Right.
So we actually start getting kids of all races, and have them start, really teaching from their heart. We can put America back on the front of innovation and everything else. Right now, our kids aren't learning anything in school, and they're getting even dumber once they get home. between the television, between the babies having
Wait a
babies.
minute, pass, just a second.
You think about the kids that, and today, if Google ever goes down or something like that, they won't be able to even pick their nose because they get days. Whether it's, do you say, do you want to know history? What the heck, I can get that right here. You want to know math? I can do it right here. So our kids are going dumber and dumber.
Yeah. And the way to get them out of that is not to tell them what to do, not to give them advice, but to connect them with how they are feeling about themselves. Because when you sit around, you don't feel very good about yourself.
Me?
When you create something, you do.
He's talking about the kids don't feel good about
feel good about themselves.
Yeah. So
I have trouble about myself too. For Christ's sake. I got a few debatable things to come up in my mind, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
Whether it's in Canada or New York or Bad Axe, that's the way it is, pal.
That is exactly right. So this is the whole point. If we can teach kids to do what makes them feel good about themselves,
Yeah.
then they will figure it out on their own. And that's
Yes.
really where it needs
But
to happen.
Come up
It's
and
not
talk
a-
to my grandkid that I'm raising. He's 14 years old and he thinks he knows everything in the world, but he's the dumbest kid in the world. That's what we got to put up in today's world. And to make him happy, hell, just give him a glass of water or a cigar or something crazy.
Yeah, give them a guitar. That's a good idea.
So there,
I don't know.
he asked a question, how would we get them happy?
So,
I have 4 children.
You're
So
talking about
I have,
the city happy.
and
Things I can't.
in dealing with my 4 children and getting them happy is actually getting them to understand what they really want to do. So it's understanding, do what you want to do as much as possible. Make sure what you want to do makes sense. So my kids actually just finished writing their first book about, and they're 7 and 9, and about their entrepreneurial experience this summer of selling water, because they wanted to do a lot of things this summer, but I wasn't going to pay for it. So we had to come up with a plan so that they can do what they want to do and earn it along the way. So they sold waters. They wanted to buy their own school clothes, taking their mom out, had a great summer paying for their own things, but it's also about giving them the responsibility of understanding that nothing comes without giving. You have to give before you take. And so I teach my children that all the time. So them giving that time into their business allowed them to take the time to do whatever they wanted to do all summer long. So it's also, but for them, it was a little different. Like I have a 16-year-old who wasn't going to sell water. She's not going to do that. She just turned 17 today, actually. So her thing is social media. So, and letting her tap into that, because, these teenagers are into the Snapchats and all these other things I don't know how to do yet. So it's allowing her to accentuate her strengths in social media. So now I've actually made her my social media manager. So she's doing other things and empowering her to make decisions based on what she likes to do.
Yeah.
But we as parents and as outsiders a lot of times judge these children based on the trends that are going on and think that they're bad, instead of actually taking those trends and making them work for us and the children. Like my daughter wasting all that time on Snapchat, now you can waste time talking about that. There's ways to make it work, if they're going to dedicate time.
But wait 1 second. When you were talking about creating jobs and having thinking for those kids, well, now you've landed those kids, particularly, they're going to be staying close to home because you've helped them create a revenue stream for them, and they feel worthy of what they have accomplished inside themselves.
yes.
That's the point that's being made here. So take it to another level of a city. Let's say, I'll use the mayor's son or grandson.
We sell water.
Yes, but he's got probably a talent on social media that he understands the whole landscape of this area and can implement it for a whole city, a social media for all the different businesses, and be the head of that.
Yeah. So he could do that, or he could manage the Happy City initiative social media framework or something like that.
Yeah, there's
yes. I mean, what it is too is allowing the youth to speak to the youth. We don't speak their language. You know, and the language barrier has gotten even larger because, you know, of how quickly technology has changed. Like my 16-year-old doesn't speak the same language as my 21-year-old. Now my 21-year-old definitely doesn't speak the same language as my 7 and my 9-year-old. So it's important to get people within that same age range to show success, because their success, like you think of somebody like Ryan Ross, who's the world's, you know, youngest self-made millionaire. You know, he's actually out of Canada. You know, made his first million before he's 10 years old. You know, there are people who the children can then relate to.
Okay.
You know, and allow children to empower children, and vice versa. And we can actually create more happy people by allowing people to be around people they want to be around. They don't want to hear from Stephen Whitley. They definitely don't want to hear from Pat Simpson, but they might want to hear from someone in their age group who's just doing it.
Just hang on a second. And Stephen, I just got a question for you guys. He says, what are we selling here?
What we are selling is emotional wellness.
Emotional wellness. How do we do this?
Okay, now the next question is, how do we sell emotional wellness?
Okay, by helping people understand A, that they can have it, B, what the tools are to get it.
What are the tools?
Okay, now it says, what are the tools?
Yeah, so the tools are acceptance, permission, learning, forgiving, gratitude, and purpose. So we teach them how to use those tools. And for those that have trouble, we give them help.
There's a lot of help.
I break it down to 4 small words: belief, purpose, agenda, and choice.
What was
those 4 words? Agenda.
Oh, agenda.
Belief, purpose, agenda, and choice. We have to give them first. They have to understand that they actually have the right to choose.
Right.
Like I always say, feeling blessed or feeling stressed are both choices, but only one feels good to your soul. So you have to understand your power to choose. Then you have to be able to, after you understand you have the right to choose, to build that belief. You know, there has to be a belief in something bigger than you that allows you to grow into the bigger you, because there's something bigger than you, whether you call it Jesus, whether you're a Muslim. I don't like to divide religion. So something bigger than yourself. Then there's a purpose. There's a reason we're here. You know, there's something that wakes you up in the morning that makes you smile when there's no money coming in. And there's something that's going to put you to bed when there's more money than you can spend. So helping people to tap into that purpose.
He says when he wakes up in the morning,
and setting a true agenda, a burning desire. Huh?
Okay.
So,
yeah. Robert?
Okay. He still thinks we've got to sell him.
Yeah, okay. So,
well, I haven't sold anything. I haven't offered anything. I haven't offered my coaching program.
He's asking me how.
You know, I haven't even so this is something we can give.
It's all a question of whether or not we want our people to be going downhill in living or uphill in living. And if we take no action,
I'm going back to the question, okay? He wants to know how we can get it going uphill.
yeah, so we can get it going uphill by providing examples, by educating, and by consulting and coaching.
All right, give me an example then.
Okay?
I think
Would be as an example of that.
Sure. I can give you my own example. I used to really struggle to get 5 things done in a day. I get more than 15 things done in a day. I used to be 25 pounds overweight, soft, weak, and in pain. I'm now super fit. I'm healthy, and I'm vibrantly alive, and I'm achieving every day. But not just me, right? This is having an influence on my whole family. And there are documented cases of other cities that have done the same thing that are getting all kinds of great results in those 3 areas we talked about, that are improving their social wellness through collaboration, that are improving health and wellness, that are improving business. Like these numbers on business success are documented on an international study in more than 35 countries that shows that the happy people achieve more, create more, are more motivated, more engaged. Like it's the science is undoubtable.
Okay, well, I appreciate that.
There is nothing.
happy people are more productive.
Yeah, there is nothing you can do to better people more than emotional wellness.
What do I buy? A book?
So
As a student of the science of getting rich, what I want for myself, I want for everybody.
right. But let's back it up. What is he going to buy?
Yeah, okay. So the first thing to remember is it's not a one-stop achievement. It's a progress that you follow over time. So nothing changes in a minute or a day. You got to get everybody on a track where they're marching up the hill. And in order to do that, you need some continuous input, and you need some continuous people focused on that input so that everybody has something that they're working on a daily basis. And this is the whole idea of the Happy City Initiative, is that, every month we get the media on board promoting some theme that people can work on every day. We're always there talking to people and facilitating meetings and getting the word out and getting people to experience the difference when they operate in this happy way. And so gradually over time, you get a critical mass going. People start to understand for themselves. They start to build success, and then it starts to feed on itself.
Good. I appreciate that. You guys got me so excited. Now I'm going to go next door and raise heck with my help and see if they'll smile and be happy.
All right.
I mean, got to start somewhere. You told me you got to start somewhere, so I'll start with a man.
That's exactly right.
Karen, I have problems with. I'll just have to shoot her. But I appreciate a little chat we had and everything. But I got to go back to work.
Okay, well, it's very nice to meet you, Mayor Jim, and I hope to see you again
someday. Will you?
Yes, I would love to.
All right, buddy. Nice talking.
Thank you, Mayor Jim.
Good talking to
I
you.
was stationed in New York at Fort J, New York at one time. Governor's Island. And I broke up a dope case there.
Very good. That was fun.
Yes.
Okay.
Hey, Stevie,
Okay. Yeah.
quick question.
Yes.
All of the things that you described in the Happy City Initiative,
Yeah.
is there a website or a write-up that we can direct people to so that they can understand how they can get involved in the Happy City Initiative?
Yeah. Okay. So you can look at our website. It's still fairly bare bones. It's called happyottawa.ca. And then you can go to the Happy City Bristol website. Just Google Happy City Bristol. They have a really comprehensive website that shows a lot of stuff on there that they've done over about the last 4 years. As far as I know, that is the best information source for Happy City Initiative info.
Well, guys, here's what I. It was good, but it was like he was interested in buying a package.
Mm-hmm.
Something that was already laid out for him.
So that the package comes from me going there. Like the first package he buys is the assessment package. So you fly me down there. I do a survey. I talk to people, find out what they want, find out what they got, find out what their problems are, see how it's organized, see what the resources are. Then I put together a package for them. And then we talk.
What would that be? How much would that be?
So to get me down there for a week, probably about $3,000 or $4,000.
Okay.
And then from there, I'd create a package and present it. Let's say $5,000 to go there, do the assessment, and create a proposal.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
$5,000. And then from there, they get them to look at the proposal. We talk to them more. And then depending on what the proposal is, then we come up with an actual contract to implement it. And depending on what the proposal they want, then that would decide what the cost is.
Okay. Got it.
Okay. So, it's not a cookie cutter approach. It has to fit the local circumstance.
But I'm not sure just exactly how I can actually take and have, because in his mind, he's got to go sell it to his board members.
Yeah. His council.
Right. And number one, it's too woo-woo for him. My feelings sitting here beside him.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he needs to get more.
He has to read something. My guess is one. Something simple and a package for him, which is two.
Okay. So if we go here, I'll find it for you.
Basically, we have to bring it down to a ground level approach here, so he can say yes or no. He doesn't know what to say. He has no idea what it would take.
Yeah. So what we can.
Yes, I understand it has to be from him, but he has nothing to go on. And my thoughts are he has just the conversations that we've had.
Yeah.
Which I was really glad that he was sitting here, because now I know how to break it down to a level where to make it simple for him, make it simple for us to all understand. That would be the right thing.
Yeah.
Start now. Okay.
So
Is that better? Huh? What?
I'm not sure how I can bring him into the picture again without having a proposal that tells him exactly how we would implement it.
Right. Okay, I'm just I'm searching here for, like, I know that Bristol has the annual report that they do.
Right.
So that would be a good thing for him to take, I think, because it would give them an overview of what they've done, what people are saying about it, and what the results are.
And that's a model we can take, not just for this city, but every city.
Exactly.
I don't have any problem grounding it, because I think it would be great to ground it with Mayor Jim, even take it to him and get to him to saying he can make it, get it to him where he makes a decision, yes or no.
Yeah.
Then I know, number one, if he just doesn't like me, or he just doesn't like the project at all, or I mean, there's a two-way. There's still some other variables, but right now he doesn't have enough information.
Yeah. Okay, I'll buy that.
I've showed him some things from Bristol already. I mean, it all sounds good. The energy of it is just a little off for some reason, and I got to figure out why it is. I got somebody laughing in the background here.
Yeah, they're having a good time. Where are you at anyway? Where are you at, buddy?
Can you see me?
Maybe if I go back to that screen. I can, yeah.
Okay.
Are you at the library?
No. I'm at the computer shop.
All right. Okay. So I'm just.
So great.
I'm looking for their annual report, which I've seen here before, but I don't see it right now. Somebody's having a really good time.
Readers. You want a movie? Readers.
You see it there?
Haven't found it yet. Oh, yeah. Hmm. Okay, I'm going to send him a message and see if I can get it. I'm just filling out a form on their contact page.
Woohoo! That's cool.
What's that?
That the
Oh, you're right with the name.
the part of
It was Dell.
if you can send over that part of what the results were from one project to another project,
Mm-hmm.
people he can remember. You can relate to contrasts because look, contrasts are, death and living are very easy ones to distinguish. So the mayor wants something he can distinguish.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't do the hypothetics because that just doesn't register.
Yeah.
I can go along with your stories, but unless I have it somewhat grounded in before and afters, I think I'm
Yeah, and you already gave them that precise data on business improvements, right?
I did, and just not today.
Yeah.
So he doesn't know what kind of revenues he would, where it would go. But if we showed him a plan of one that's been done before, that's all we need, just to show what we've done, or show a before and after. Then it's simple to connect. He can connect the dots. Connecting the dots right now.
I figured out that guy's voice. Yeah. Are you guys?
Okay, I'll send that off.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll see what I get back from that, and I'll share whatever I get back. Because, yeah, I don't blame him. He needs some of that kind of stuff, and that's very important. But I think on a personal level, we connected okay.
I don't think that
He was very reticent at the beginning. Very.
Yeah, he couldn't figure out what we were selling. So we got to give it down in black and white where you can say yes or no.
So,
and
what people need to understand is how important emotional wellness is to overall wellness, overall productivity, overall fitness, overall health, overall success, overall sleeping, overall relationships, blah, blah, blah.
But that, in his mind, I think what he's thinking he needs to know is it going to bring revenue to the city?
It's going to generate revenue from the city.
It's going
to generate revenue. And it's going to generate revenue from a few ways. It's going to generate revenue from improved creativity and collaboration. It's going to generate revenue by improved productivity. It's going to generate revenue by becoming an example of a healing city and other people flying in to see, how the hell did you do that?
We got to show
Yeah, exactly.
them. Where it's been done before, where it's been done before, that he can. Yeah,
that gives him something to stand on.
Right. He doesn't have anything to stand on.
Yeah, we're just some guys talking
on a blab show.
Yep.
So concrete vision, and actually it's a visual for him too.
Well, I've seen one of those reports before, and they have all kinds of graphs and pictures and charts and quotes and all that kind of stuff in it.
Wow. So coming up with this is interesting. Okay.
We did. That was good work on your part, buddy. You actually got him in there, so that was really good.
I don't know, unless it turns into something, how good that is. I guess what it taught us is that we needed before and afters, and so people can see the contrast. That's no conceptual, no bullshit. I mean, that's what it was. We were in there. We're talking like we were talking out of our butts, and well, we weren't. But that didn't mean.
But what he needs to go to his people are hard facts.
Facts. He can't go to his people what we discussed with him today. So you sent that over. Did you put it in the email? Cool. What's a good thing? Would be a great thing if he understood it. It's just our job to have him understand it. So
our job is to make him understand it, and then his job is to choose and support it.
Yeah.
This can work.
So that's where we're at.
Yep, this can work.
Well, good. Well, probably would help a lot if we got his son enrolled in it, or his grandson. If we got his grandson enrolled in it.
I can hear you talking, but I don't understand a thing you're saying.
It would help a lot. It would help a lot if we got his grandson enrolled in it in some way.
Well, if we get there, then we'll make the grandson the chief social media marketing officer. Exactly, and do a hell of a job, I'm sure. And be influenced unknowingly.
But it's got to come from the top. So we have to see. We have to create the mayor being on board, and that has not happened yet.
No, I think he's somewhat open, but we have to provide more hard evidence. We got to give him something he can take to his people.
All five of them.
Yeah.
All five people.
Yes.
Put it into my line.
But that's an interesting challenge, though, eh? Like,
good. It was a challenge to understand what he needed.
Yeah, so now we do.
What he needed. Yeah. I had to find out, just kind of get any question that he had. And his biggest question was, what are you guys selling me? Now, guy's 76 years old. I understand that coming out of his mouth. I really get it. But it also it also came to the point where we had to find the before, where it happened before, and this is what happens as a result of what we implement.
Yep.
But wouldn't that be within?
Yeah, that's the truth. So this is something that we can take on board as we move forward. Is really thinking about, what does our audience need from us?
Right now,
And that's on your list.
A frickin' press kit. Yeah. We need a whole bunch of flashy things. That takes, wow.
Kind of flashy things.
What kind of flashy?
Well,
Big tits.
well, it's flashy because if we have the description of what's going on, and then the visual of what the city was like before, and then what it would be like after, that's the part that's the bridge that has to be made here, because you've got all education levels and all kinds of it's got to be brought down to the simplest format, very simple, like down to science. You've got a different kind of mayor where you're at. Not one that's not 76 years old. I love this guy. I love Jim. But you got a guy that's 40 some years old.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
You could probably say a few words. Maybe it's the amount of energy put into it.
Okay.
Camera. You're only half on. Now you're leaning, Eileen. I thought you were kind of crooked.
Am I better now?
You're still crooked. You're so fucking retarded.
So are we?
Let me see. Do we need to talk about anything else? Oh, did you want to talk about ACN for a minute?
I'd like to go call Gary and get.
That's a deal. Okay. Talk to you later, buddy.
Thank you. See you later.